We're live. Have
Cool.
this little thing I be saying. Greetings, Queen. Love,
Greetings.
Queen.
Greetings.
Peace,
What's up?
Queen.
What's up?
Greetings, King. Love, King.
Greetings,
Peace,
people.
King.
What's going on?
To any and
How you
everybody
doing?
that's pretty much joining us. The topic for us today is pretty much why are we so disconnected? Hence is men and women.
Yeah,
There's like a bitter fight pretty much taking place. On one hand, you have women that are disgusted of men, and on the other hand, you have men that's disgusting of women. We're failing to understand and inner and outer and overstand that we all need each other, and there's somebody for everybody. And at a basic balance, we have to meet.
Yeah.
So I have Charmin with me. I'm sorry, I butcher your name all the time.
Adija.
Adija.
call me Sherman. She's called
I don't want to butcher, I don't want to butcher the queen name. That's why I'm gonna say it last. But greetings, queen.
Yeah, man.
I brought you on because I feel like you're the perfect balance. I've noticed you've never sway on your stance, and you've always hit directly down the middle, and I love that. And I know there's certain women that have that stance and their love for men never change because it varies with their brothers, their fathers, etc., and so on.
Yeah.
So the question for me to you is, where did you think, like within yourself, we went wrong as a society or ethnicity?
As black people or men and women in this
Yeah,
question?
we talking about us. Yeah, blacks. We talking
Blacks.
about us. We can't speak for nobody.
Where did we go wrong in this society? To be honest with you, I don't think we went wrong as such. I feel like the powers that be were against us in every way possible, and it has caused the dysfunction, and we don't realize that. So we can go back to slavery days first of all, or colonization, depending on where you're from. And you can clearly see that things were put in place to, bring us down and divide us, divide and conquer. And then you have the more recent things such as feminism, or when they were infiltrating the Black Panther Party, the movement, or any other thing, anything. Then when they put crack in the ghettos in America, when they started sending guns and things down to Jamaica. All of these different things just messed us up as a society, and it's going to continue to do that unless we ourselves realize that this is happening and know that there is an enemy to fight against. Because a lot of us don't think that there's an enemy.
Mm, okay. Another question I would ask of you is, why don't we take accountability having all this information and knowing the stigmas against us? Like,
Why? That's a good one, because it's a with me with that one there, it's a 50-50, yeah, because you have people who knowledge you have people who are open to knowledge, and then you have people who are not open to the knowledge. You have those who are so closed off and so closed minded that even telling them certain things they will instantly reject it, what I mean. You have people who, how can I explain it? As I said, it's a 50-50. You have ones who will take the knowledge, take it in, and try to do something about it. And then you have others. And it has to do with your upbringing as well, because think about it like this: like, you're a young person growing up in a white area. All of your friends are white. You grow up, you see white people in a certain way, and you see black people in a certain way. Imagine a black person to coming to you and telling you now that white people are your enemy. You're not going to see it like that. You've grown all your life trying to assimilate and trying to fit in, to the point where you've turned yourself into a real raccoon. And now, even hearing the truth, hearing that you can empower yourself, you reject it because you grew up a certain way. And then you have someone who grew up the same way and is a complete pro-black. It really depends on the souls that come down here, man. It really does.
So for you, it's more so about the experience and the encounter with.
Yeah, it's experience, it's encounter, it's how you've grown up, it's what you believe, what you don't believe. You know, certain Christians, I heard certain Christians say, I'm a Christian before I'm black. And I said, go and tell a white person that. See what they say to you. You know?
It's crazy, but I believe people are people. And with that, like how I was raised, like I was explaining to Tony yesterday,
Mm.
like our culture is just totally different.
Yeah,
You
that as
know,
well. That as
like
well.
I was unaware of a lot of things
Mm.
until I came to the States.
Mm.
And then when I was going to school, that's when things were started getting
Yeah.
forced into my head, and the television, the radios starting to sway my perception of things.
Mm.
But in society now, I feel like everybody is so egocentric,
Yeah.
and they tend to hold on to this importance, right? And to be important is to shit on somebody else and make them look lesser than yourself because you want to uphold that facade
Mm.
that's not really you. And nobody takes the time to actually step out and look at themselves and understand we're all followers.
Mm-hmm.
The information we ingest, the recipe, the food we create, we're following somebody,
Mm.
you know, and that's somebody's opinion. Like nobody have yet to actually step out of themselves. I'm like, yo, who am I?
Yeah, yeah.
You
And
get what
that's
I'm
another thing
saying?
as well. Like I feel like another thing as well to just add to that is just so many people in this world. This world is made in a way like how society's made it is in a way that everyone has to be the best. You know what I mean? Every girl wants to be the best looking, every man wants to be the strongest. Everyone's got to be the best. Like so it leaves no real place sometimes for it basically create it makes people want to be different. It makes people want to be more than they are. Like then you have social media, which really doesn't help when it comes to people in general. It really doesn't help. You have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and everyone's a guru. Everyone's just trying to show off who they are. They want to be the best at everything. They want to be seen. It's like me, me, me. There's 7 billion of us on this earth. You know what I mean? So I do agree. People do have to step back, be aware, and see what life is really about. Because life isn't about being seen, being the greatest, being the best, being the prettiest. This is everyone's really superficial. And
I respect that, and that's 100% accurate. Hey, Shaman, I keep adding R to your name, bro. Shaman.
I know, yeah, it's the
What's
English, you know.
yeah?
What's up?
What's your
What's
thought
up?
on everything we spoke about so far, King?
Well, that's an interesting point of view. That now I don't know how to say your name. Was it Adagia? Adaga? Adiaga?
Adisha.
Adija might like
Adija.
Vice Cartel. Adija Palma.
Like okay, like Khadija in
Yeah,
Arabic.
yeah,
Khadija.
with the
Okay.
A. Ah, Dija.
Ah, Adija.
Yeah, we're gonna get
Okay.
your patois correct. All right.
Man, yeah.
Hey, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hey, my African pigeon. You know, she reminded me of Queen Latifah in House Party, bro.
I
Have I
think I
seen
know what scene you're
Oh,
talking
yeah,
about. I know
yeah.
what scene you're talking about. You
Yeah,
stupid. You stupid.
yeah. But
You're an idiot, man. Leave me alone.
hey, but and she mentioned slavery. I would say in many ways the disconnect began there because you have to remember us who are our indigenous ancestors, for example, whether you're talking about the Americas, Jamaica, Trinidad, or even Africa, we had a oneness consciousness, a oneness mentality.
Mm.
Hell, there were even no jails. No jails existed in indigenous societies, right? So once yours truly came over to conquer and begin to objectify everything, that's when the disconnect came from. You have to understand that our philosophy before they came was a a animistic understanding of reality. Everything has spirit, which means all things are connected. Then they came and chopped that up. And so now what we have today is a engineered product of the disconnect. We are literally a engineered product. And it becomes very difficult for us to return back to that because we fail to understand who we are as people. So go ahead.
So to sum it up in a nutshell, everything is more mechanical. Basically, we're just on this hamster wheel, and the more we hold on to our cell phones, right, and the more numb we become, basically.
Yeah, what happens when you program a robot? You give the input of what you want to do or what you want to accomplish, and the output is just that what you see today. And it's sad, man, because those of us who are empaths, we walk around every day. We can feel everybody, and the feeling is, in many cases, horrible. Like, dude, like I don't even want to go outside because the consciousness is so low around here. What they have done a good job disconnecting us. Like, for example, man, I was in an African store the other day, and I was talking about like African power, and we have to unify and everything. And the African guy said, "Jay, this is my brother," right? And he gave me a hug, and when he gave me a hug, it was like a hug of embrace. Like he put his neck and his entire head and rested it on my shoulder. That is a hug of embrace and brotherhood. We lost that as a people because we're so disconnected.
That's genuine too. I feel now we're pretty much like ingesting information and we're not doing anything with the information that we're ingesting. I don't feel the passion. I don't hear the vision. Basically, I'm not learning anything, and I love learning things. Greetings, King. Peace, King. Love, King. Welcome, Rich.
Greetings. Sorry, I'm late. I think
You're not late, man. You on time, man. Be the flow.
Time beat the flow. Okay.
Be the flow, King.
Yeah, it's like 1:30 where I am. I was thinking 4 o'clock my time, but I'm here, and I may cut out again, but I'll be able to come back because something came up.
It's all good. It's all good.
But how do I pronounce the young lady's name?
Adija.
I'm gonna change it and spell it how it's said.
Adija.
No, it's a beautiful name. I just wish I could pronounce it right.
Thank you.
Adija, and I like the way it looks in the letters.
My dad was being extra.
Think of Khadija and House Party with Queen Latifah, bro.
That's his mess of it. So the topic is why are we so disconnected, basically. And the young queen pretty much gave some profound answers. I would say it's slavery, but I'm more lean into accountability. The reason why I say accountability because we pick and choose what is important to us, and we pick and choose how we treat whatever is important to us differently. You get me? Like we try to figure out what we put time into. If it's a party, we gonna make sure, hey, go outside. We look Basel. We look the best. we come to show out. But say for instance, when it comes to your temple health, we put any old type of BS in it. And I feel like this has something to do with our thinking as well. Because a person that feeds off of herbs and natural always have this bliss. You can see it. Like even looking at you, Adija, there's a certain radiance, that's exuding from you. What is your take on that?
That's true. No, that is very true. So I live in London and we live around a lot of these Cockney people, yeah, and they do eat a lot of just rubbish. When I tell you, I was actually saying this yesterday, they hardly eat vegetables. Like I hardly ever see them eat vegetables unless it's like peas, right? And their attitude and how they behave, their even sorry to say, but even how they smell, you know what I mean? There's just the like a must about them and like a frustration and a they get sick more as well, more often.
Walking Dead.
Yeah, like it's just really odd. But then I see people. Don't get me wrong. I come across people who eat rubbish and they're cool, and I come across people who are raw vegans and they ain't. You know what I mean? But the majority, what you said there is very true. When people are eating better, they're doing better, they feel better, their head is more clear, they look better.
And they smile more too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, man. They're more level-headed too, I realized.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm big on diet also. People that know me, ever since I changed my diet, well, I was actually sick and was losing my marriage at the time, and everything was happening to me at once. But after I got through all of that and I really got very serious about my diet, all my ailments left, and I treated, my dreams even changed. My whole demeanor changed.
Wow.
Everything changed about me. And our topic is being disconnected. So how can you be connected to somebody if you disconnected with yourself by all the stuff you're putting in your mouth?
Mm. Yeah.
If you're not connected, how are you going to connect to someone else?
Mm.
And food has a lot to do with it. And when I speak about it publicly, people say, well, people eat all kind of things, different people, all kind of people. And I said, look, if you go drink some alcohol and within half hour or so, you're going to be so inebriated, you're going to forget about what you did the next day. The
Mm.
next day, you're not going to even remember this. And the point I'm trying to make is alcohol is straight sugar. It just gets you drunk fast because it's straight sugar. But the sugar that's in our food and in our diets as the day go on and the months and the years is so minute. Disease doesn't manifest until you're 35 years old once you start eating sugar at 2 years old. But the reason why we get drunk with alcohol is because it's straight sugar and it only takes, it's a bottle of sugar, chemistry wise. I don't care. They may change the name, but it's the same game. And and a bad diet affects your mind. It affects the hormones. It affects everything. And to me, it's the bottom line of being disconnected. Is if you want to connect yourself back, change your diet. And I, to me, it's the bottom line of being disconnected because if you disconnect you from yourself and your relationship with the earth, with the universe. And I think they put a little of that in that story of Adam and Eve. Nothing ever really went haywire until she bit the wrong food.
Mm.
So I think it's a little bit in that story. Even though I don't really follow that story, I don't follow religion, but there's always some truth in some bullshit story. Sorry to put
Okay.
it that way, but
Okay. I mean, you gotta speak your truth, right? You know. But what is your take on the disdain that we have for each other in this society, Queen? Queen?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it's the stupidest thing ever. We all look the same. Every other nation works together. Yeah, they still have wars and stuff that go on, but as a whole, they all work together. The Chinese man work together. The Arab man then work together. White man, Indian, whatever. They all work together. We're the only ones who are against each other gender-wise, light skin, dark skin wise, and just we don't even like ourselves most time. It's the most ridiculous thing.
Why do you think we're fighting for roles though? Like,
I have
what
to
are
go
we?
back to it. We're all so downtrodden, yeah, that all we think of doing is fighting one another to be on top. I was watching Nollywood the other day,
Mhm.
and which is Nigerian movies, yeah. And there was a scene where a rich man was talking down to a poor man, basically. And I was thinking to myself, why is that? But they're so the country, most of the people in the country are so poor that those who have money feel that they can treat the ones who don't a certain way because the world tells them that that's okay. The world tells them that, okay, look, you're a black person. You ain't nothing. You know what I mean? So if you have something, you would then start being a certain way with everyone else if you have a certain kind of heart. I don't know, man. I think it's ridiculous, but I see it on the daily. I see it on the daily. And there's a lot of places that it stems from. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of different places that it stems from. Some people are just bad, man. But everyone's trying to basically strive for what the white man has told everyone that this is what it is. Not only black people do this, you know. A lot of other nations do the exact same thing, and everyone's just striving for what the white man has said. Look, this is the poster. This is what you all have to come to. We are already there, but you guys aren't. So you have to look up to us or work with us in order to get there. You can't do it for yourselves. So we don't look at each other as brothers and sisters. We see each other as competition.
And that's a
The,
good point. And Adisha, you don't seem to be affected by this virus. What would you tell other females and other people? Uh, how do you stay so realized?
Pay attention and stop ignoring things. People delude themselves in this life, you know. Whether people really want to admit that or not, people delude themselves. They sit in their rooms and they have a whole commentary in their brains to the point where they believe their own lie. Like, all my advice would be is stop believing your lie in it. Like, you yourself within yourself and know what's true, what's what, what's really what. Like, just because someone I'll give you an example. You know how like females, once they get done wrong by one guy, all of a sudden every man's trash. They know that's not true.
we was
They
talking
know
about that yesterday.
everyone knows that's not true. Come on. But they believe the lie so much that they push it, they perpetuate it. Then they have people, you see people ganging up on one person in like a Facebook comments or something. They get fuel from that, you know. Like,
and
the
then
more people that comment and agree with them, the more it's pushing their delusion, the more they're believing their own lie. Like, life life is not difficult. We make it difficult for ourselves.
Oh, what didn't we talk about this? Me and Shaman and Jermaine was talking about this the other day about the simplicity of life,
This is
and
very simple.
I say life is simple, but but we're so conditioned to deal with the complications.
Mm.
And Adija, how was you like this all your life, or did something, was you like this all your life, realized or looked at things deeply?
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. I have an older brother. Me and him used to talk a lot about different things, like different knowledge-based things. And I guess me myself going into it, when I was younger, I was into Taoism a lot. You know, Zen and Tao. I used to read the Proverbs a lot, and I feel like that within itself kind of gave me a level-headed mindset coming into anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, if there's no enemy within, then there's no enemy without. If you're reading that as a child, you're gonna grow up clued up, you know?
mm,
yeah,
and
that's true.
that's powerful because one of the biggest enemies we're fighting is ourselves.
All right. There ain't
And
no enemy outside of you, man.
and then and then the crazy thing about it, like, people don't understand energy, right? And then even that the ego, which is an illusion, is a safety mechanism
Yeah.
for everything that's going on around us, right? So you and the ego be sitting in the room chopping it up,
Yeah.
and
Like.
you like, yo, I feel like this, and it's like the spinach that Popeye eats. Like, yeah, go ahead, like, but guess what? When you want to go right and the ego is used to left, it's gonna fight you because right may be the right path for you.
Mm-hmm.
The ego don't want you to go there, and this is your security system. Like, I believe everything you manifest within, you manifest outwards. But we're in reverse. We actually believe everything is from outside and we put it within, and that's where the disconnect is for me.
Right.
Hey, Shaman, don't get silent on me.
I think he's on mute.
Man, I'm just taking it in, man.
I'm about to ask
You know,
you for a brownie, bro. Mail me a brownie.
I'm lit. No, um, so she mentioned Taoism, which is a excellent um, philosophy, if you will, and that can change people, especially from an early age. You know, like in Taoism, just like water, everything is one. You know, and like she said, there can be no, if there is no enemy within, there can be no enemy without. Think about what our Aboriginal brothers in slavery, such as Nat Turner, think about what he has done. He realized who the true enemy was, and it was him. And then when there was no enemy inside of him, he became fearless. And we know what happened with that story. When you finally realize who you are, you in many ways become fearless in your destiny. You know, and that's what it's all about. Becoming fearless in your destiny, becoming one with everything yourself. Because becoming connected again, it all starts with you first. And the way to do that is you have to realize that separation is an illusion. There is no separation. It's an illusion. And unfortunately, you know, we have 7 billion people on the planet. Now, what's interesting is that a lot of these people, which most of the world is indigenous in culture, they also realize that. But there's some sort of spirit that's over them that prevents them from emitting such frequency throughout the world.
So
which is white supremacy.
Let me clear my throat.
I had a thing though, right? I'm a deep thinker. Like, I'm always in my head. So this is what I do most of the time, right? If I see a situation transmuting to the point of danger, I take my face and put it on the other person. And then I ask a question: how would I deal with myself in this circumstance?
I do that. Definitely.
So it gives you more of a balance, and your trajectory of anger shifts where it mellows out, where it's not anger no more. Because this is not how you want to feel, and this is not what you want to omit to the world. And a lot of people have challenges with that because they don't like that posture. They don't like that look they have in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? And you're unique. Nobody else have your beauty. Nobody have your sensual bliss. You're you. Period. And you need to understand that. And I'm generalizing here. And that's what it is. You got to conquer yourself first before you could try to conquer other things. Because if not,
Right.
in a silent room, your conscience is gonna beat the
It's gonna
shit out
bite
of you.
you up, man. It's gonna bite you
You're,
up.
you're not gonna win.
But, yeah. But, and you know, like look at the Korean man. The Korean man knows who he is. The Korean woman knows who she is, and it reflects in their culture. The Indian men, especially, they know who they are. It reflects in their culture. But in Black culture, we are so disconnected that if you're walking on the street, and I'm talking about in America, I can't speak for the UK or other places, but in America, if you walking on the street in the hood and you give a brother eye contact, it's automatically a fight.
Yeah, same in the UK. Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, bruh, I just gave you a look, a head, and you think I'm a narc?
But
You think like you think I'm a Fed because I look at you?
But you know what's crazy though, Shaman?
Mm-hmm.
That's not, for me, that's not 100% true. Like, I don't know if it's the way I carry myself or it's my vibration, bro, but I command this kind of respect. Like, people wherever I go, they may not know me, but every time they see me or they're vibing on the frequency that I am, it's like, what's up, King? And we keep on pushing. There's so much solidarity, bro. Like, there's no negative vibes or anything, and I feel like it's what you're emitting that's retracting what you don't like. Like, even say for instance a female, y'all could give me the business, it's okay, I love y'all too. Most females, not all, fail to understand they attract the man they want. You get me? And the reason they have issues with that man is not that man is messing up, is because they see too much of themselves in that man. In Jamaica, they say, yo, teeth don't like to see teeth carry long bags. You know what I'm saying?
Because they know what they're carrying the bag for.
So that person is exposing you. You're seeing a reflection of yourself, and you can't deal with that exposure. What do you say about that?
So, so you have two types of consciousness. You have individual consciousness and you have collective consciousness or corporate consciousness. So individually, you may emit a specific frequency that's going to bring people, peace, king, how's it going? You okay? Peace, queen, how is it going? You okay? Then you have the collective whole, the corporate consciousness, where the bullshit happens. Just like you have individually, you have wealthy Black people. But as a corporate body, we are poor. So, the disconnect, for the most part, is on a corporate level. The body itself is dying. The fingers have blood rushing through them, the eyes, but guess what? His leg has to be amputated. So when you have one part of the body that's dying, the whole entire body is going to have to pick up the slack and suffer. So when you have disconnect from your leg, the entire body is going to suffer. And of course, it wasn't always like this. According to the ancients, life goes through cycles. In Indian culture, they call it the yugas. And according to some of them, we are in what you call the Kali Yuga, which means this is the last bottom. Like if you look at a stock market chart or a forex chart, the bottom before the rise. So we at the last bottom of the disconnect before we rise back up to collective heart consciousness. But it's up to us to get there, because guess what? It could take another 1,000 years before mankind finally gets it. But if we collectively say, you know what, fuck that, we're going to do this now. So by the time we get there, it's not 1,000 people left on the earth. But specifically, family, specifically, the black disconnect is the most horrible on the planet. Do you know why? Because we are the original people, the original man and woman. Why is it that we are the most disconnected people on earth? It's because it was designed that way. And one of the ways to get that connection back is to meditate. And like you said, Jermaine, raise that frequency so when you go outside, you can get that peace king. And then each one teach one. So guess what? We all have peace kings. We all have peace queens.
Mm-mm.
What did Jesus say? Go into all the world and what? Make disciples. Anybody who's anybody can take that wisdom and apply it to their lives, to their frequencies. And that's how we do it.
Okay. What's your take on it,
Well,
Queen? Oh, Rich, you got something?
no, Adija can go ahead. I was just going to mention, the deliberate conditioning that the black person goes through. You know,
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
I've I've found when I fell in love with who I am, the universe showed me who I was, and I didn't get it from a book, I didn't get it from a friend, I didn't get it from a parent. Uh, it's just I think when so-called black people find out that black is a color, but 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 black people is a vibration. See, once the young people see the difference early, they won't grow into the propaganda and the brainwashing. They won't be deceived by that. And because we are a vibration, we're the only group of people that call ourselves a color. I mean, you heard of the red man and the yellow man, but they all associate themselves with Asia, China,
Yeah.
Italy, uh, Europe. They don't rely on that color too much. And but we are a vibration, we are energy, we are electrical. And if you tell a child that, automatically the child is going to start tapping into things that Adisha said she was tapping into young. They'll start tapping into proverbs. They'll start having more of a direct perception of somebody managing their perception. Even if somebody tells them something, I'm sure when Adisha was young, somebody told her something, or even now, she would be like, okay, but she would see it differently because she's not going to be managed by that something trying to manage her.
Mm.
We're a vibration. We're electrical. So we must eat electrical food. We are alive. This is why we have rhythm. We have different rhythm than anybody else. We have different insight than anybody else. This is why. So if we can stay in our element, which is spiritual, we spiritual people. And if a child learns this young, they begin to love themselves. And so, because when you're connected to you and the universe, you won't be disconnected with your people, But our connection is a stronger connection. Most other nationalities is connected because of money and resource, but we were created from the land that had the greatest resources. Why? Tell your children why you come from a land with the greatest resources. So the universe found favor in you for some reason, right? So you must be something that's very uh, you're born with this integrity, and we just need to instill that we're we're not a color, we're a vibration. Black is a vibration. All light comes from blackness. So don't be ashamed to be black. See, once you see that this black is beautiful in you, there won't be no problem with sharing blackness, or realizing that. And but you see the other nationalities, nothing against them, but they know how to instill in their children coming up. The Jewish people have a whole thing with the bar mitzvahs and coming up with the youth, and other nationalities, or like Italians, they love their youth, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they change up things. I mean, Italians are Romans. Since when we start calling them Romans?
Mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm,
they
mm.
didn't like it, so they changed it to Italian. You see what I'm saying? They're
So
Romans.
so with that being said though, right, King, Queen, is it the fact that we're ingesting too much of other people's cultures and poisonous ways that swayed us away from our path? What do you say about that? Because we make everything grand, right? Except ourselves.
Mm.
What's your take?
With me, yeah, it's got to do with classism. It's got to do with color, racism. It's more than one thing. So you see, it's we ingest, take in, and try to assimilate white culture way too much. Everyone does it. Everyone on the earth except Arabs. I have to big up the Arabs when it comes to that because they really like keep their one, and the Jews, yeah. But we assimilate the culture too much, and then you go. That's the West Indians and the African Americans, and and it's like Black South Americans, yeah. And when you go to Africa, for instance, they have their culture, they have their language, they know where they come from, they know their land, they got inheritance. Do you know what I mean? But with them, it's now class. It's where you are in the world. China is in a higher place, so they would look up to China. White people are in a higher place, they'll look up to those white people. Arabs are in a higher place, they look up to them. So with that one, it's less about race and more about class. And because of where we come from, because of the things that we've been through as a people, because of the deliberate programming that they've done specifically for Black people, and I say specifically for Black people because we're the original ones. They do all this geometry and genetic manipulation for us. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be more of a detriment to us than it is for everybody else because it's focused on us. So you have all of these problems that we go through. You have us trying to assimilate and take on other people's culture. And that's what then makes us throw away our own culture, our own selves. That's what makes our collective consciousness become singular, even though we're still connected. These are just a few issues, man. A few issues with us.
It's
We need to
it's
stop looking up to white. We need to just stop looking up to other people and trying to get other people to accept us and look back on our own history, look back on where we come from, and then big ourselves up.
the
To this day,
greatness. The
Mansa
great
Musa is the richest man still. Come on, that's an African man. So if he's still the richest man, then we are a real grand people, and we need to stop trying to be white.
the queen sitting on all his riches.
Hmm.
She got all his riches. See, the thing, like, I fight to uphold my culture, and I too have swayed from my culture because not all things within my culture is great, but my culture is very profound. Like, my culture gets up every day and they cook, right? And it's grand cooking, and every Sunday it's either your curry goat, your mutton, your tripe on belly, rice and peas,
Man,
vegetable, carrot juice, so on and so forth. And that's not all healthy. But guess what? They're still not um so far off where, like, my grandmother is 80 still walking around chopping it up, cutting jokes.
Mhm.
You get what I'm saying? And she weren't faced with half the turmoils there versus when she came here. She had to have knee surgery. She had to take these kind of
You
medicine.
see?
Like right now, she's losing her memory basically based on certain things. And then on top of it, the medication they give you, it costs so much. Like, her medication is like $3,000 a
Yeah.
bottle, and so and it's not making her better. So
Mm.
it's like the family is like, yo, should we actually do surgery? Because supposedly they found a clot in her brain and one in her lungs, but given her age, everybody is scared,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
Of course, yeah.
So I think it's deeper. Like, we need to start with the person in the mirror, and we need to cleanse because everything is against us, right? Something simple like a phone, Right now, your phone is on, right? It's giving off 2,800 blips of radiation. When you turn airplane mode on, it drops to zero. So picture you having this here every single time. What you think is affecting? And then you got the TV and so on and so forth. We're off our frequency. So everything is like a combative thing to separate us out of our true vibration.
Right. Yeah.
I seen them stick two of these up to the water and it changes the trajectory of the water and put ripples and have it going different ways. So imagine what it's doing to our blood within our body. It's changing our DNA. A lot of people are unaware that our organs changed, some within 28 to 30 days and so on and so forth. Like, it's on a deeper molecular spiritual, it's not just physical level. I feel like the disconnect starts there, but I put it on us. Do you want to change, or you like the conversation about change? And I feel like a lot of people like the conversation about change versus stepping up. I hear people say, yo, I'm not going to give up the pork. It's going to have to kill me. And I'm like, wow, why would you want something to kill you versus you enjoying your inhabitants to go in a natural way? And then I'm looking like, yo, that's a sickness.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a deep, deep, deep delusion. And people are really, they're really in on their own delusion. They're in on it themselves, man. I say train up a child in the way that he should go. You know what I mean? That's one of my favorite proverbs there, because it's true. We need to stop allowing people to grow old or get older and they don't have knowledge of the things they should in order to empower themselves. Because I agree with you. When it comes to the talk about change, it does start with ourselves. We have to change ourselves before we change anyone else. And if we try to change anyone else before we change ourselves, we're only going to go to everyone with biases and ego. But when it comes to talking about where the issue came from, I wouldn't say that the issue was us. Where it started, it became us, and it's continued to be us because they gave us the formula to destroy ourselves. And now we're actually in on our own destruction.
But look at this. This is what's funny to me, right? You have certain proverbs that indicates we taught you civilization. We supposedly taught you how to bathe, how to function, how to farm, how they're using our formula, bro.
Yeah.
Queen, I'm sorry. They're using our formula. The formula they're using on us belongs to us. So that's why I keep saying accountability, because if I know I'm out of shape and I'm unhealthy, you're not gonna run in my house like, yo, get up, get up, get up, get up. It's time to go to the gym. It's time to work it off. Yo, stop eating this, and that. I have to find that within myself and take that step, because the same way I could walk in the store and buy the chocolate bar and put it in my mouth is the same way I know, you know what? This may not have a great impact right now, but in a couple of weeks and a month, I'm gonna see the impact. Like, come on, like we gotta start controlling ourselves, and we fall to temptation a lot. And
yeah, we're not disciplined whatsoever. We used to have discipline back in the day. You see it, like we had Tulsa, Oklahoma, we had all of these different things.
New
Man.
Jersey,
right?
North Carolina, and we are innovators. We are powerful beings. But I feel, and this is why I decipher certain things differently. You know how they say the angels, they call them the fallen angels, right? They were cast out of heaven. That's us. We fell from grace. We forgot who we are. We're no longer on that frequency that we're supposed to be on. And it's never too late, because I feel like this whole thing is just one long ass day.
Yeah.
No, but and they want to say, oh, it's you got 24-hour time. No, it's just one long ass day. And the crazy thing about it, your body tells you, because you ever be up within the daytime and then your body, you just feel so tired, so drained. Your body is the clock telling you, oh, it's time to actually sleep, because you're programmed with the universe. But we fight against these things for legal tender that values nothing. not understanding we're the resource.
Mm-hmm.
Shaman, I think you had something you wanted to say about that.
So I would say about maybe 50,000 years ago, during the time of what some will call Atlantis and Lemuria and the ancient fallen continents, mankind was on a fifth to about say maybe a sixth dimensional consciousness, sixth dimensional frequency, where we could do things with our bodies that seems like fiction because we were so connected to each other, and then we were also connected to the universe, to dark matter, to everything. We were so connected. Telekinesis, telepathy, remote viewing, astral projection. We did all these things at will because we I'm going to tell you something, and it might sound mythical, but it is what it is. We can achieve. You know how scientists say that you have that 97% of your DNA that's junk, and you only use 3% of your DNA. But the fact of the matter is that 97% reconnects you back to your divine, godlike self.
But how would you tap into that 97% given there's a lot of hindrance around you?
Mm.
So the best way to tap into that is to you have to come to a realization. I definitely recommend a meditation,
Yeah.
especially for the crowd who may not believe that getting spiritual readings or astrology readings are kosher. I would definitely recommend meditation. And the way you can meditate is you're going to have to ask the universe to help you realize the connection and help you realize the reconnection. Because you have to experience it. You gotta understand a lot of things cannot be explained logically. You have to experience it because what? You have emotional intelligence. And that's something that you, Jermaine, could probably understand better than all of us on the call because you're a cancer. Cancers understand emotional intelligence better than most people in the zodiac.
Sometimes I don't want it, bro. Sometimes I don't want it, but
I know.
I found out that it's my calling. So
But yeah. But you
I
have to
can
now
feel it.
yeah, and you have to now embrace that, and that's where the sacrifice comes from. You have to embrace that.
Yeah.
And we're all electrical people. We're all spiritual. So some people antennas may be more in tune than others, but nevertheless we have antennas. If the revolution is inward, I always say the revolution is inward. If a person change their diet, start eating electric food, start being around your element, start being around, positive energy, people that don't drain your energy, and people, people, places, and things and thoughts that's encouraging. I am the Black American environment, and a lot of Black people's environment is full of conflict and complication.
Mm-hmm.
That will turn you into a monster. Complication and conflict will turn the best person into a monster
And I said
because
it.
we're so, we got to wake up. Everything is such on a time limit. The revolution, when it's inward, when you're meditating and when you're getting into yourself and eating right, it's a timeless action. But when you're on time, oh, I got to get to sleep on time. I got to wake up on time. I got to get to work on time. I got to do this on time. That's that type of
Mechanical.
schedule is for a machine. We're not machines,
Yeah.
you know. And we have to tell our youth, we have to tell our people, stop stop conforming to mechanical things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, less is more. Downsize. You gotta get the conflict out of your life. Who's ever in your life that's complicating things, get them out. Separate. The older you get, the more simple life should be getting. And simple things like that, you'd be surprised because if you're successful on a small scale, you can be successful on a large scale. You know, because we're so conditioned again. We're conditioned on the wrong way to get out of it. We know we're conditioned to how we got into this turmoil, but we're conditioned again on how to get out. Oh, read your books, go to Jesus, go to Allah, go to this, go to. We did all that, didn't work. We got a job, we got a degree, we became president. It didn't work.
He's right. That's the thing. He's so right. We're conditioned. We really are in this social conditioning. That's just prevented us from being able to move anywhere.
So I think the question is, what transforms a person without conditioning? The sunrise transformed me, and in touch with the universe transformed me. Back to my root. That is our roots. The timeless action of the universe is our roots. It really is. And something as simple as finding a quiet place during the day, downsizing, eating right, and you begin to see, you begin to have a direct perception to something that you realized instead of you learned in a book or something secondhand or some propaganda that's managing your perception.
But
You know,
Rich,
black people is full.
I'm
Go
I'm
ahead.
I'm sorry. This is the thing though. Intuition, females have it, males have it. We just don't call it intuition. Why do you think it's so hard for us to actually follow those intuition?
I think we
Apart
need to
from all
look
the
at that.
programming, is it we know the program has something to do with it, but is it self, like
Intuition is a higher force, and you are a lower thing. You know what I mean? If you're in this body, you're a lower thing. Whenever you get the urge, like you hear your intuition, but you also have the urge to get the chocolate bar, like what you were saying. You know what I
mhm.
mean? If you don't have the discipline over your lower self, which is your body, your physical self, then you're gonna ignore the divine voice within your head.
I mean, I respect that, but I also think this is not a lower. It's not a lower thing, and the reason why I say it's not a lower thing because I think it's what 36.7 trillions of cells. That's all electrical within us,
Mm.
right? So imagine a computer with a virus. When the virus is within that computer, it doesn't do exactly what it's supposed to do, right? You have problems like Shaman mentioned earlier. Your legs might not work, so it might affect your upper half, so on and so forth, right? I feel like we are powerful within our own right. When you get a cut, the cut heals, right? When you sleep, you time travel. You're sitting in Georgia, but you're dreaming in Paris somewhere in a room wherever you're whatever. To me, that's time traveling. Like we see these things on blips. We get little blips of these things, right? And like Rich says, we got to correct our eating and so forth. Our body corrects itself and we slowly tap into that radiance that we need to tap into. So I feel like society have us believing like even the dumbest shit. Oh, you only use 5% of your brain. That's stupid as shit to me because the left and your right, you're using both of them. That's 100% to see like example to see like a LeBron take off from point A and reach point B with little thought, defying gravity. That can't be 5%.
Yeah.
My brothers,
Adi-
before you
Adi-
continue, though, I gotta go. It's getting late here.
Okay.
Yeah? No, I didn't want you to continue. And then
No, it's fine, Queen, and we shall do this again. And I love the fact that you actually step forth and grace us with your present. I love the fact that you're
Yeah.
balanced. And I'm looking forward to have more of these talks where it's in a natural, beautiful, blissful setting where everybody can hear each other out.
yeah.
I'm grateful to
Yeah.
have you, Queen.
That was Cool, man.
Yeah, she mellowed us out.
Yeah, man.
Salute. Salute.
See you later.
Salute. Love
See
is
you.
love.
We're doing this again, Adija.
All right.